Welcome, boys and girls, to another installment of We the Boys. Joining me today, as usual, is my tag team partner, my consigliere. He is the number man. He is Alan the Nerd.
By orders of we the boys, and this two individual here acknowledge us.
Before you acknowledge us, I've got to introduce myself right in the middle of your screens and banging in your eardrums. It is me. It is the Don himself, Don Anthony. And today we're going to be speaking on not a controversial character anymore, but rather a game changer. We're going to be speaking about Logan Paul, who has taken the wrestling world by a storm. This guy happens to be, he has the Midas touch, it seems to be. Everything he touches turns to gold. Right now, he's super famous in WWE because he's putting out banger after banger after banger performances. He's doing not too bad in the boxing scene also. But before anything else, everybody knows him for the famous drink, Prime, which we'll be touching on a little bit shortly. But before we start our journey with Logan Paul in this episode, let's speak about what he's been through in the past. And for that, I would like to bring up our number man, the Consigliere.
Okay, let me crunch the chronology and statistics when it comes to Logan Paul in WWE. So it's not ironic in the sense that when Logan Paul made his debut, he was being booed, and it was fresh off the pandemic era. He actually started in WWE being a special guest of Sami Zayn. At that moment, it was leaning towards Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul was brought in as the confidant of Sami Zayn. That was his first exposure to WWE, and he was not an active ring performer at that moment. That was WrestleMania 37 once again, 2021. Then only from that moment the ball started rolling. There was the idea of Logan Paul being actively involved in in-ring performance. And also, Anthony, you'll be surprised. Do you know how many Logan Paul matches there are as of today?
Oh, it's a handful, I believe, yeah.
There is 13 matches. So for someone who has just recently joined the industry and has a fast track to the main roster, this chap only has 13 matches, televised matches, and he's performing at a top level. And he is also our current reigning and defending US champion.
Yeah, speaking about that, I when WWE decided to put the belt on him, I felt very half-hearted about this because at the end of the day, at that time, he was merely a gaijin. A gaijin is basically an alien to the industry, He's a celebrity at the end of the day. So I thought that we're taking this route again. But no, he has made this title super relevant and super credible. You see, the Miz used to say that he made the Intercontinental title the most relevant championship, at that time. And seeing what Logan has been doing so far, he has made the US title bar second to the undisputed title which Cody now holds because of Roman and The Rock. The US title seems to be one of the highest title in demand, because if you paid attention to the most recent PLE, which is the King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia, he main evented the show, not putting his title on the line, but rather going for the main goal in Cody Rhodes. And that match was really good, And that's exactly what you were saying just now too. Logan Paul came in with loads of doubts to his name. He could just be another celebrity wrestler. And at that time also, I must remind you, the other big name in WWE for a celebrity wrestler who was putting on very good performances was Bad Bunny, right? Bad Bunny was performing like he was a legit wrestler. Then along came Logan Paul with his tag match with The Miz. He puts on a stellar performance. Fast forward, that's what, 3 years ago? Fast forward to this year, this last week, he's putting on a top tier performance, sorry, although there is the notion saying that he's not doing this week in week out, he's not doing the house shows, he's not doing that, so his body is not as um, um, put through the mill as much as the rest of the wrestlers. But the fact that he absorbs the pressure and the fact that he puts so many eyes on the product, that speaks for itself. This guy is a generational, once in a lifetime sort of performer. He's made for this.
Anthony, one could describe Logan Paul as a walking highlight reel. Every
Mm,
time he performs, there will be a sensationalized and viral moment. Who can, forget the moment Royal Rumble between him clashing together with Ricochet in the right of the center of the ring. His
yeah,
performances in which he brings celebrities like KSI and iShow Speed. You know, so I feel like Logan Paul is the catalyst, or as he would describe himself, the rocket fuel of WWE at this moment. So we are always excited to see what program will he be involved in. And after his loss to Cody Rhodes, I think we are rather optimistic to see what he can offer, being the
mm,
champion currently, and once again being a heel champion. So someone in the SmackDown roster has to step up, to go and grab the United States gold for him. And there are plenty of PLE coming up. We have Clash at the Castle, we have Money in the Bank, we have SummerSlam. We are no short of competitors and event for Logan Paul to shine.
yeah,
Also, Anthony, you have to see that throughout the 13 matches, only one of them is on a weekly episode of SmackDown. The rest 12 matches, not taking into consideration those involved or participants such as Money in the Bank, Elimination Chamber, and Royal Rumble, are all in the premium live event, and he has main evented twice. One is Crown Jewel against Roman Reigns, main event. Second is the recent King and Queen of the Ring against Cody Rhodes, all for the WWE undisputed title. So it shows how much of a big deal Logan Paul is. You hate to admit it, but you have to respect him.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, one thing that you mentioned just now easily summarizes the need for Logan Paul in WWE right now. The word viral. This guy has been viral from God knows when, maybe 10 years ago. He's one of those forefront runners of being an influencer online, right? He has found himself in loads of controversies, etc., etc. But let's not dabble in the negativity of his name, because right now this guy is a pure positivity. For instance, in all of his matches now, obviously he owns Prime. He's half owner of Prime with alongside KSI, who's another big name in the English society, influences, etc. So Prime has become the number one energy drink in the world. You know, going head to head against Red Bull and stuff. That's a big feat by itself. And right now we're seeing Prime plastered across the ring during WrestleMania, the biggest stage of them all, and you're even seeing it during Raw and SmackDown and stuff at the side. So that goes to show. And on top of all of that, whenever he has a big match, he brings in other influences. He's bridging that gap. He's blurring the lines between wrestling and the real world and social media. He's bringing more eyes that are not naturally acclimated to the wrestling world. So now we have new eyes and new fans, people who are following these people like KSI, like the person who is on your screen right now, I Show Speed, who is a very viral character by himself. Now these people are becoming super relevant. And who are the winners? Us. Who are also the bigger winners? WWE. Bigger eyes to the sport, and to top it all off, this guy backs it up, right? And the next thing that we're going to talk about is the elephant in the room, of course, Prime. You see, Prime just made its way to Malaysia, I think a few months ago, via Jaya Grocer. And let me tell you something. Before it came to Malaysia, there were you could find it on Shopee and Lazada and stuff. Many people claim it was scams and stuff because it was selling out all over the world, dude. And then now when it made its way to Malaysia, I myself had gone to Jaya Grocers, plural, grocers. I stay in Malacca, although I have work and cases in KL. So whenever I travel, I made the trip to find the prime bottle just to see what the hype was about. And most of the stores that I went to had the prime sold out. So the final place that I went, I just bought whatever I could, you know. Let me ask you something, Ellen. Have you had any chance in tasting or buying yourself a prime?
Anthony, I always make it active activity for me. Anywhere, everywhere I go, shopping mall, airports. When I say airport, I mean KIA too. There's a giant grocer in KIA too. But everywhere I go, I make it a point. If there is a giant grocer, I must try my luck to search and hunt for a prime. But to no avail. I never seen one. Every time I ask, they say it's sold out. So unfortunately, no. How about you, Anthony?
Oh, I had a very good luck actually. Would you like to see my collection? I actually have it all over the table right now.
Please do,
Uh,
please do.
okay, so I have uh, this one. What is this? Tropical Punch. I have this one. I have two of those. I have a lemon lime. I have the blue raspberry. Also a new
Anthony,
hall.
I have one here with me. The blue raspberry flavor is here right beside me.
Yes, you do. And I have this one, lemonade. These are new, by the way. Strawberry watermelon. I have the cherry freeze. And last but not least, the one that I feel is the best looking one is, what is this? Metamoon. I have a few more colors to get. I like collecting it. I've not opened any of the bottles.
Okay, and Anthony, let me take a step back on Logan Paul's history and involvement with WWE. Once again, I refresh everyone's memory. His first match was he teaming up with The Miz against the Mysterios. Okay, that was let me check. Okay, that was WrestleMania 38. On the April of 2022, and at early on the year, the video game WWE 2K22 was released and Logan Paul was announced as the DLC, for that game. So there's a soft introduction in a way which he was introduced to the WWE universe, through a video game medium, and then also through his first few matches. I remember very fondly watching his match, Anthony, because when you have outsider performer like Bad Bunny and also Logan Paul, you doubt yourself, are they going to perform well, are they able to live up to the hype once the match started? And also you have to take note why he was introduced through a tag team match is for the Miz to carry the bar and to guide him just in case he could not carry himself. In that match also, Dominic Mysterio is quite fresh and he's just entered the main roster. But to our surprise, he performed and exceed everyone's expectation. I still remember in that match, he was doing the three amigos, and his face, he was smirking. He was doing the frog splash. So I think he was basing his moveset on Eddie Guerrero to mock the Mysterios. But at that first match itself, he proved all the doubters wrong, and we were like, damn, even though I don't like Logan Paul's personality, he really can perform because there are two aspects, as a performer and a WWE superstar. One is the professional wrestling, the other is sports entertainment. This person can perform physically, and he also can perform as a sports entertainer in his ability to read the room, to connect with the crowd, and also to cut promos. We know Logan Paul by his own nature, he's a villainous character, the way how he can garner and harness the energy of the crowd. People are booing him. I think at some moment they were trying to make him a face, a good person when he was going against Roman Reigns, but people are still booing him. But he have already totally embraced the persona, So he's now a very douchebag. He's a very hateable character, and he embraced it. So I feel that once again, for a person who has only went through 13 matches and less than 2 years of experience in this industry, he's top of the table.
I absolutely agree with you. You see, when you mentioned about the first part where he was mocking Dominic Mysterio with the whole Eddie Guerrero-esque moveset. Fast forward to last week at the King and Queen of the Ring. Did you see that frog splash? It was so high and it was down to perfection, you know. Eddie Guerrero is personally my favorite wrestler of all time. And it's not easy for somebody to replicate his moveset. The moveset is not easy. And for a part timer that everyone seems to be calling Logan Paul, you cannot really call him that. He's performing to the highest form. This guy is genuinely second to none. You know, in fact, if let's talk about this, right? He is the current US champion. Who do you think is credible enough to take the title from him right now?
Referring to the roster depth of Smackdown, I feel only one person has the rightful claim to dethrone Logan Paul, which is LA Knight. He has the momentum. He has experience, working with Logan Paul, cutting promos, being involved in the Money in the Bank match. So I felt that the most probable path is for Logan Paul to carry out a program with LA Knight. Also, we see a backstage interaction recently leading out towards the King and Queen of the Ring, in which Logan Paul exited at the Nick Aldis office and bumped into LA Knight. So I felt that LA Knight's crowning moment and Logan Paul's eventual dethroning should come sooner rather than later in SummerSlam. But with that being said, losing and dropping the title is not a bad thing, you know. It shows that maybe Logan Paul can focus on the bigger picture, you know, moving towards other superstars and other prospect. What about you, Anthony? What's your opinion?
My opinion is, I think I would agree with you actually. Logan Paul dropping the title to LA Knight, and funny enough, LA Knight is a known name in the industry, right? He's a vet, in fact, you know. But him dropping the title, him as in Logan Paul dropping the title to LA Knight, seems like putting LA Knight over, and that is only credit to what Logan Paul has done so far. Also, touching a little bit more on his US title run. I'm a fan of his title run, although I would prefer to see the title a little bit more often on TV, not just during the big PLEs and stuff. That one is something that we should probably, I hope WWE sort of like works on, you know. But then again, that's sort of something that comes at the back end of having a celebrity champion, you know, because that guy has other stuff to do, you know. um I was not too much of a fan as to how he was trying to package himself recently. You know, during the contract signing with where he changed the stipulation with Cody Rhodes, he came up with his whole entourage. The entourage is fine, they're very annoying, it's fine. But what I saw was he had a lawyer next to him, who I think is a legit lawyer, by the way. Um, it feels like he's trying to replicate the head of the table, the wise man sort of thing, which didn't quite pan out. And I hope they drop it. But if they're not dropping it, they gotta properly package it. They just can't, you know, they just gotta follow through with it.
I didn't pay much attention to the lawyer, but one key thing that I want to point, which is quite apparent and very very repetitive in his appearance, is the brass knuckle. You know, so brass knuckle in professional wrestling started with William Regal, in which his finisher was the power of the punch. So from there on, I think Logan Paul has brought significance, ironically, to the brass knuckle. I felt that he does not need that article of item, you know, to shine his character. So that's my 2 cents, Anthony.
Also, another thing,
Lose the brass knuckle and focus more on athleticism or your in ring performance. You know.
also there's something that I wanted to bring up. You see, a champion or a wrestler or a person like Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes is a wrestling purist, right? He is a real fan of the product and the sport. So if you could speak to him, you would understand, even when he's just cutting a promo or during interviews, this guy is bleeding wrestling knowledge. He knows everything, right? He can tell you like integral parts that just not any Tom, Dick, and Harry would necessarily know. And what I really like about Logan Paul is he is not fake, someone who's sort of like in the know of wrestling stuff to curry favor with the fans. He's being absolutely real, even in his impulsive podcast. I listen to it because I think some of it is pretty cool. The impulsive podcast, there's so many times where he just admitted, like, oh, I don't know this guy. I don't know what happened there. What happened there? And these are big moments that everybody would know, every wrestling fan would know. And he is just honest about it. And the fact that WWE, knowing all of this, that he's not a fan, and they recognize the fact that he's so damn good at what he does, and putting the belt on him, is absolute credit to Logan Paul. This guy, once again, I'm saying, I hate to admit it, he's an outsider, but he's a generational talent. And he should remain in the company for a long time.
Talking about impulsive, Anthony, there was a funny theory, that this Logan Paul's feud and rivalry is usually depending on who the guest from WWE is in his podcast.
Correct, yeah.
Previously it was Roman Reigns appeared, Randy Orton appeared. After that,
Cody appeared.
Cody appeared. Correct. And when we were talking about the in-ring performance, he also have an in-ring awareness. So he's not shy to learn and to admit. I remember one of the calling matches is he and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was doing a flip and Logan Paul managed to catch him before a power driver, because if Logan Paul was not there to catch Rey Mysterio would have easily broken his neck. So I think he has his in-ring awareness is second to none. It's this natural.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's not faking it. That's the part that gets me. He's not faking it, and he's just started to try, and he's this good. Imagine if he has like what 5-10 years under his belt. What is he going to achieve?
Yes, and people were always paranoid. Once again, outsider, or celebrities, they might tend to botch. Botch is meaning you perform something and you make a mistake. But I think so far if you do put it in numbers ratio, he botches very rarely. He performs well under pressure. Imagine, that the moment in the summer in Royal Rumble between him and Ricochet, if he would have missed a step, the cameras were all watching him. Even in WrestleMania, and the recently King and Queen of the Ring, the camera angle, everything. So I think he rarely misses, and he even adapted the buckshot rate as a finisher. I think as of now, I've seen he always perform it top notch.
I want to ask you this: who is your current logical dream match for Logan Paul?
I would like to see him step up his game and go against someone hard hitting, like Shinsuke Nakamura, try to get out of his comfort zone, be more involved in physicality and without relying on all these dirty tactics and also cutting promos, making fun of people. I want him to be involved in a pure wrestling match. So I think that's a dream match for me for him to step outside the comfort zone.
You know who I think I would like him to go up against? The promos are going to be really good. CM Punk. That will be really good because Logan Paul can talk shit and he can back it up. CM Punk can talk shit and he can back it up. This is like logging heads, a wrestling purist and a wrestling newbie, both so good at what they do, logging heads. Amazing. And while we're on that topic, I don't know whether people realize this or not, but Randy Orton came into the wrestling business very similar to what we had in Logan Paul. He was the newbie who was so talented at it, and he sort of like took it for granted. But that's not the point here. So he was primed and ready, and now everyone who has worked with Randy Orton would say that this guy is just made for it. He just has it all. He's the full package. And his match at WrestleMania 40 was against Logan Paul. Logan Paul is essentially something like Randy Orton, generational, primed and ready and made for this. And I'm super excited just to see what Logan Paul has in store for us by proving us wrong the first thing. So, in short, what would you like to see happen to Logan Paul and his title reign, and what he has in the horizon?
Drop the title to LA Knight.
I would love to see that also, but before he drops the title eventually to LA Knight, which I think is the only direction, I would really love to see him go head to head with CM Punk. I would really love to see that happen. Yeah.
Perhaps, once again, dropping a title is not a bad thing. Let him drop the title, sooner or later, after CM Punk and Drew McIntyre's feud run off, and even Seth Rollins. Maybe we can have Logan Paul transition to Monday Night Raw, and sooner or later that match with CM Punk might happen. So I would like to see too, after that, after you planted the idea in my head, Anthony, the promos will it's going to feed families for generation.
Yeah, I agree. And it's also going to make Logan Paul a bigger star. Mark my words, I said this. All right, I think we've touched all of the points that we wanted to speak about. There's not much else to speak about Logan Paul, but to see what he has in store for us. All right, boys and girls, I've been your Don Anthony, and that's been Alan the Nerd, and we have been the boys. We the boys.
By orders of We the Boys, and once again, whoever this individual in this prime outfit is, acknowledge us.
Acknowledge us.